Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to yet another episode. I am very happy to have you back here. I'm very, very excited. I have so many exciting things that are coming up in the next couple of months before the end of the year. And I am very excited for you guys to find out about them. I will be announcing some things. I think by mistake, I kind of hinted at some of the things that we are going to be doing coming up. I am very, very excited for that, and I am loving the heat. The sun is out. It's been quite cold here once again this week, but I'm very happy that it's warm. And once again, I am going out to another barbecue. I'm actually going to a Rwandese get together today. So thank you once again for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I would request for those who haven't yet subscribed to please subscribe, like, share, wherever it is that you listen to this episode. And yeah, it goes a long way in helping me to spread the word. So I wanted to start off this episode by not just being the usual, but by telling you guys how there are some times when God just aligns, like brings people in your life, and you're like, wow. The person that I am going to introduce shortly is someone who is like she's doing a lot of amazing work, and we were connected by a mutual contact who is actually my previous guest. And I was very like I wanted it to be a surprise. I didn't want it to be something that I was like, I have already done research on this person. And man, there are people who are doing so much work. And then when you get to listen to, like, when you're asking the question, are you living in your purpose? Are you doing this and this and this? And they're telling you about their life. And then close to the end, this person drops a bomb about something very tragic that happened in their life that really got me thinking that there is so much pain in purpose, and there is so much purpose in the pain. And truly, man, we have to really be grateful with our lives. We have a lovely life on earth, and we need to live it every day by giving our best. And I can really see why this person is so passionate about everything that they're doing, because you guys, this chick had a near-death experience, and you're going to find out more about this. So I'll shortly introduce her to you guys. She is a storyteller. Her name is Esteri Tebandeke. She's a Ugandan filmmaker, actress, producer, and the founder of the Binti Film Festival, which is launching next month. If you haven't been to their social media, I'm going to tag it in the description so you can be able to find out more about it. I think it's going to be such an amazing, amazing experience for us Ugandans. She started from dancing on the stage in Ugandan National Theatre, and then she starred in international films like The Queen of Katwe. It was halfway through our conversation when she was talking about Queen of Katwe, and I'm like, I watched that movie. Why don't I feel like I know you? Most times you watch movies and you see people and you know them. I was like, that's so interesting. So Esteri has always carried stories in her bones from the time that she was young. She's going to share with us how that came about. And we had so much laughter, you guys. We laughed so much. This was such an amazing episode to record. So a little bit about Esteri. She's not just a performer. She has always been raised because she was raised in a blended family, and after losing her dad at such an early age, Esther's exposure to news, music, and African cinema opened her eyes to the beauty and complexity of African storytelling. It moved her from a consuming creator to someone who wants to create. And she said that Nigerian movies were the first thing that made her realize, we can do that. Like, I have seen an African person doing this, and that's possible, that I can do it as well. So in 2019, she went to a film festival in Nigeria, I believe, yes, Nigeria. And this film festival opened her eyes to being able to realize what more she can do as a woman, because the film festival was planned by a woman, and this helped her to realize that, man, that like there is so much to do. And shortly after that, the pandemic hit. We all know what happened in the pandemic. We even laugh about it, how we were cooking and doing all that stuff. But Esther ended up having to later on, as she kept waiting for the right opportunity to start something, the Binti Festival, as we now know it, she ended up getting a near-death experience where her kidneys failed, and by the grace of God, her husband ended up being the donor. And Esteri's life is a reminder. It will always be a constant reminder for me. Every time I see her, like every day, I'll be like, that's why God saved you. That's why God saved you. Because not that many people make it out of this. As I've shared with you guys, I recently, in March, lost my stepdad to kidney failure and cancer. And it was such a painful experience. So I connected so much to Esteri's story. So, in this honest conversation, Esther is going to share what it means to live with intention, why women don't need permission to lead in male-dominated spaces, and how near-death experience gave a vision deeper meaning. So, in this episode, I'm sure you're going to find it very powerful. You're going to laugh. You're going to be. I'm sorry, I'm looking at you guys. I'm just like thinking so much. I loved editing this episode. And to know that we have such a person as a storyteller is such an amazing thing, because her life has been one heck of a journey. And I think it's people like that who tell the best stories, because they have been through the pain, they have been through the highs. So Esther is an actress. Like, she has movies out there, guys. Like, she has participated in so many projects, and I love that. So I really hope that if you're listening to this and you're in Kampala, you can go check out the Binti Festival this coming month. And also check out Esteri on her social media. She's such a cool woman. I love her, and I love the fact that everything she's doing, the stories that she's telling, the narratives, and everything that she's doing it to empower women. And for me, I'm a huge fan of female empowerment. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Esteri, and I know that you guys are going to have a lovely time. So let me also go and have my lovely time at the Randy's get together. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All right. Hi, Esteri. How are you?
I'm well, Rusty. How are you? So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm always excited to meet new people that I have no idea. Like, I have no idea who you are, where you come from, what you do. And for me, that's so exciting, because I can be surprised. It's always like, oh my God, like this is a new person. I rarely reach out to people who I barely know. In many cases, I have already like done some research on the person, but I chose not to do any research on you so that I can be as surprised as I would be. So, as I was explaining before we started recording, yes, I am building what is like a digital platform for women. The
Mm,
idea is like it came from a vision of having grown up in Uganda, seeing what some of the challenges we have, and it's just a normal day, and then coming here to study, and I realized, oh, why don't people have this? Like, why is it so hard to access this kind of service?
mm,
So I did do a lot of like work in Uganda, in like up country, and seeing all the things that the women were going through. But then also conversations with different people and experiences that I had. Like how you'd be like at campus, man, how did we survive? Like, you have
yeah,
this mental breakdown, you don't have the support, there's no blog post to read, we don't have podcasts. No, we didn't have podcasts to read, to listen to. But then you meet this person who is telling you that, oh yeah, man, when I was like at campus, if things were tough, I would go to the guidance counselor, I would like read this book, and then I would like, there was this community. So I was like, you know what? I feel like in my conversations with people, I still realize that some people are really struggling with like the simplest of things. You're a new mom,
yeah,
you have no clue what you're doing. And
yeah,
I noticed the disparity between like Africa And here is the community, how people here, like everything has a website. Like every office you go to, they're telling you, use this website. Even if it's just a small restaurant, they have like a website where they have all this information. They don't
Mhm.
just offer you what it is that they're selling to you, but they give you more information. So I figured, after also personally working for an online platform where we were helping English speakers. So I live in Germany, and this platform was helping English speakers to kind of like, when you come in, how do I find this? How do I find this? Like, what's the information? What's the deal with the Germans? How do I help my kids out? So I figured something like this is very necessary in Uganda. And for me, mostly, I'm like driven by female empowerment. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? We need something like this for women, because in Africa, especially in Uganda, where where I come from, we
Yeah.
are the ones making all the decisions. Like the man can reach like you're 20 years and your dad is like, which school did you go to? you know, like we are the ones who decide everything. So I feel like if you empower the woman to help take away all these problems, because some people don't actually know that they're ignorant about certain issues. Like you
Yeah.
find someone who has had 4 kids and you're a first time mom and you're telling, like, my mom is learning so much from me. And she's like,
Yeah.
how do you know that stuff? I'm like, it's all over the internet. Like, yes, I know we have ChatGPT now, but I can read about this from America, from the UK. Like, I have access to all these resources on my
Mhm.
phone. And yet she raised 4 kids and she just was just navigating it every day
Bringing
with
it.
guns.
Yeah.
And we are still going through this for so many people, because people get their phones, they're on TikTok, they're on this, but they're not thinking as a student, as a mom, as this, like, how can I, like, which podcast can I listen to learn how to do this, editing these videos and everything about this stuff.
Yeah.
I literally
Yeah.
just went on YouTube, I listened to podcasts, I joined community groups on Facebook, and people call me and they're like, how are you doing this? I'm like, trust me, I started from what do I do with a podcast, and I learned everything. So to me, I feel like it's like a solution to very many problems, and I don't want
Yeah.
to be the one to create, like, I just want to create the platform and then invite several people who are good at this stuff to give them the platform where they can come. Like if you're an NGO which helps like abused girls, I have interviewed quite a number of people who either were abused or have organizations that are helping these people. And in many cases,
Yeah.
this person will tell you, yes, I found a community of people and that's it. And you find out they weren't connected with a psychologist. Like they didn't
Yeah.
find more help that they need, or they didn't know what to do, the connections with the police and all that. So, in a nutshell, that is what the platform is about. And I figured before I do like the whole thing and inviting people to collaborate with me, I can start a podcast and tell women's stories. So I started this it's almost 3 years now. I
Oh,
started
wow.
this in 2023, at the end of 2023, and I just asked people like, what's your story, what happened to you? And I was surprised, because I just said, you know what, I just want to talk to people. And it turns out like older people like my mom, they are sharing stories that we are all encountering, but it takes you to listen to it to understand. Ah, okay. So I don't have to repeat the same mistakes that person did.
Yeah.
So I figured, I know you're also a storyteller, and I'm sure you're going to explain to us like your vision behind everything that you're doing. But you do understand that the movie you put out there is not just for entertainment. It's going to
Yeah.
communicate something. So I feel like through this podcast, someone might be where you were, Esteri,
Yeah.
like 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
listening to your episode is going to make them realize, I actually have everything I need to beat Esteri to the top. I don't have
Yeah.
to start from where she was. So that's why I invite different people to come onto the platform. For me, I don't care whether you are a celebrity, you are a person who I've just met, and I just know that every person has an amazing story and there's
Yeah.
something to learn from it. So, this first season, I asked what happened to you, because I figured from the book What Happened to You that everything that happens to you as a child has something to do with what you will become in the future, how you think, how you see the world. And I was like, okay, let me switch it up a little bit. And now I'm asking, are you living in your purpose? Because I feel like after 2020, many of us got an awakening where we are trying to, like, I don't want to just exist. I want to live like a purposeful life. I want to live a life that is meaningful. So you start off by introducing yourself to us, and then you can tell us if you're living in your purpose. I will ask the exact question. So that okay. So, do you feel like you're living in your purpose right now, and how has this journey shaped this sense of purpose for you?
Hello, Rusty. My name is Esteri Tebandeke. I am a filmmaker and artist and storyteller from Uganda, East Africa. Um, I don't think I have an answer to your question. Am I living in my purpose? But it's got me thinking. It's a very, very, very necessary question.
Yeah.
Um, I feel that maybe now I am more intentional about what is my purpose. Like I ask myself that question now more, I'm more aware, I'm more awake when I ask that question, what is my purpose? But I do feel that with storytelling, even from childhood, I have always been a storyteller in some way, shape, or form. And if if my purpose is to educate, to inform, to entertain, to empower, to excite, to open minds, to take people on a journey by storytelling, I think I might have found my purpose, but I need to find how to make that purpose, uh, let's say, make that purpose more valuable to the person that meets
Yes.
me. So I might know it, but I need Rusty to get value from
Tell
what
me.
my purpose is. Yes. So I
Yes.
think
Yes.
that's what this question has kind of made me start to think about.
Triggered, yes. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. And I don't know, you just said like let me see. You say you've always loved storytelling. Maybe you can take us on that journey. Like when did you find out that you love storytelling? What inspired that? Was it something from your parents, your community? What is it about storytelling that you feel that you needed to be a part of?
Well, I come from a family that is, mine is an interesting family that's very blended, very adopted, very communal because I was orphaned at school. My dad passed on, and then my mom raised me and my siblings for about 4 or 5 years, and then my family. You know how it is here in Uganda or in
Yeah.
Africa. Your family steps in, uncles and aunties step in to help take care of children. So my mom loves news. She loves music. She loves films. So she exposed me to that very early on through my younger auntie who unfortunately passed on in the 90s, but she was very excited about music from Congo, the Shalamwanas, and all that content that came from Congo that affected Ugandans in some way. And then the films we watched from Germany, the TV shows from Germany that used to come on at 6 p.m. and then the TV is turned on like at 10 p.m. I don't know, something like that. So I feel like from my mom's background, she already opened my eyes to what storytelling could be, mostly through music. And then when I was taken on or adopted by my uncle and his family and his wife, my uncle loved films, so he started taking me to the cinemas. So that's how I get exposed to filmmaking and to storytelling from the screen. So I feel like from childhood, I've always been held by story, just by people around me, from my mom to now my dad that raised me and his family. That's like really from as early as the 90s, I was exposed to storytelling in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
Yeah. What changed about wanting to listen, to watch the stories and you being the one creating the story? What was that shift? Because I have listened to quite a number of people, like different celebrities who are producers or something, or maybe Chimamanda, because she always says like her inspiration for writing books came from the fact that all the books that she used to read didn't tell her story. So she was like, I need to understand why, like, why are we reading about Romeo and Juliet and all that? And why don't we have books that we're reading about the Chinamandas or the something like this? So is it similar to you? Maybe I could have led you in that direction, but is there any specific thing that made you switch from just wanting to be the consumer of these movies and films or was it just, a natural process?
For me, I think the natural answer would be Nigerian films. Again, we 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 were not seeing people that were like us. And when I say people that are like us, we watched American films and we were seeing the African American experience on screen. But if you truly question me and you, that's not our experience because we are removed. We are on the continent. I know you're not on the continent now, but you've lived here. So I am on the continent. I have a different perception of life. I have a different perception of my existence as a woman, as an African, than Hollywood African American audience or someone who consumes the content from Hollywood would have. So for me, the opening to this was Nigerian films, and then also again West African films from like Senegal, from Cameroon, that were showing people like us that were experiencing life the way we were experiencing it. So I think I don't know if you remember Idi Koko. We watched something from Cameroon, and this the rich man and his wife. The rich man and his wife. He would repeat that
Yeah.
a lot, and so that was also seeing an African man on the screen for me, I was like, that's possible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also seeing, let's say, an African person in a German film, you're like, that's disorienting. You're like, what? That it could be me. It's like I'm looking at myself on the screen,
Yeah.
and then
That's true.
maybe watching someone read the news, like an African person read the news to me. I was like, is possible. That is possible.
Yeah.
I was
I love
used
that.
to a certain person being in front of me on screen, a certain look, and then suddenly there's someone who looks like me, and that was as early as the 90s. I don't think I was thinking, go and make films. I was thinking, oh my God, it's possible. Um, and then when the Nigerian films came on, we were thinking, wow, they have made the films from very raw, from no help, no assistance, just get a camera and shoot and tell a story. That opened my eyes to a different type of world that was very possible.
Yeah, I love that you said that because speaking of that, when we were growing up, I think all of us wanted to be American gangsters, or there was that phase where all of us like were looking up to Schwarzenegger or whatever I said in
Yes,
German.
yes,
And then like you're looking up to like people like Rainbow and all that stuff and Indiana Jones. And then there was that phase where the African American people like Save the Last Dance and all those stories were starting to be told. And I
yeah,
remember the identity crisis that was happening in my school. Like every movie that was so popular at that moment, we tried to be at school. Like I
yes,
remember Prison Break when it came out. My friends and I used to wear like our shirts, and then we put like long sleeve stuff and walk around like you just feel like you are a gangster in the prison. And as you were speaking, I was thinking this is actually very important, and I don't think people notice it because entertainment is not just watching. Because when you're young, you're seeing your life, you're trying to figure out, like you're being molded into an identity. And if you
yeah,
see a black person, then you start thinking, because back in the day, there's a phase where like you know how they say Americans decide what the rest of the world does because of
mhm,
their movies. So there's a
mhm,
phase where everyone was doing wigs, like wigs. Like I was like at campus, and if you didn't have a wig, like even the boys probably didn't think you were looking good, and everyone was admiring you if you had a weave, weave on and stuff. And I'm seeing right now that people are now more like they embrace more. Even the wigs they buy, like they are just looking for extensions that are natural to them because now we are starting to see a shift in that, and that's probably because social media is making it like possible for us to be
yeah.
able to like to see there's a possibility of being a different person. You mentioned Nigerian movies. I remember there's a time where the only thing we knew about Nigeria was witchcraft. And Up to now, like every time I meet a Nigerian, the first thing I tell them is like, man, you guys, can you like it was too much. Like that's all
Yeah,
you were advertising.
yeah,
You meet a
yeah,
Nigerian, the first thing you're thinking, this guy is going to bewitch me.
yes, yes,
And yet that's just a movie, right? That's just a
yeah.
movie. So what narratives are you telling about Africa right now? As now that you have the power to tell our stories, what narratives? Because I know I've not watched any of your movies, but I'm sure people will be interested to find out when you did all this research, sorry, and found out, okay, this is what I've watched. Now you've grown up, you know you love movies. You have to be the expert to be able to say, okay, this is what's missing. This is what I want to do. So, what narratives do you feel like like you're drawn to tell, and why?
Mm-hmm. Um, let's see. I I love stories about women. I love strong female leads. I love stories about family and belonging because for me that affects me directly, wondering whether I belong to my biological family or my adopted family. But I'm also about stories that are true to us as Africans. For example, we do not know anything about going to the moon. Why would I be telling you a sci-fi about going to the moon? Like, have I ever gone to the moon? Have I considered going to the moon? Um,
Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
I feel that if an African storyteller or filmmaker wants to tell a story like that, I am very excited to see what they can do with technology and their imagination. But me as a story, I want to tell stories that are very real and are very true to who we are as Africans. And I know people say Nigerian films tend to be too dramatic, they tend to be too theatrical, they tend to be too not contained in the usual one, two, three act, which is the start of the story, the middle, the end. Sometimes our stories have five acts where it starts, it's in the middle, then we
Oh,
go back, then we start talking about
someone can sweep for 30 minutes. You're like, what is going on? And now I have to go back to the video library and buy part three.
But if we could just learn to contain that, but that's really how we tell stories as Africans. Even with me talking to you, Rusty, I don't think your podcast or your platform when you talk to African women will be as straight to the point and there's no diverting. We divert a bit. We talk about, oh, how is home? Oh, what happened when we were watching this in the, how the babies, oh, my dog, oh my God. We talk like that as Africans. We are a full experience. It's not just no small talk, straight to the point. Hi, Rusty, let's do this podcast. Oh my God, da da da. 15 minutes, we are done. No, that's not how it happens. So I like to tell stories that remind us that we are seeing ourselves on the screen. So the kind of narratives I'll be going for are narratives that Africans will go to the cinema to watch. So it's not, again, like I said, I will not tell you a sci-fi film, but I will probably tell you a film about a young woman in Africa right now who realized, like you, Rusty, that you can get information on the internet about motherhood and inform your mother that raised you. That would be a very interesting, because when you were telling me that story, I was thinking, oh my goodness, you are younger than your mother. Now you have your own child, and now you are informing your mother on things that she could have done to raise you, but you're using that to raise your child. That is our reality right now as Africans. And I will tell it in a location that's African. I would set you in a home in Africa. I'll probably set you in a home with maybe African food. I don't know what your food is. Maybe it's matoke, maybe it's kalo, whatever, maybe it's malewa, but I would try and make our narrative so recognizable that when you watch these stories, you see
You
yourself
feel home.
and you see
Yeah,
that,
you feel
yes,
home.
you
Yeah.
feel like you're home. So if you're in Germany and you watch a film like this, you're like, the digital world has affected the younger woman, but she's telling her story in a setting that is very true to who she is, where she came from. And so even when the Western world watches, this is a new world for them, and it's very interesting to see that. So it makes us unique, that people are curious about where we come from. But if we copy what they do, they're not
True.
interested. Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes,
I'll
yes.
try and make our narrative as true and as relatable to who we are as African people. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. While you were speaking, I was thinking about Tyler Perry. You know
yeah,
how people make fun of his movies, and he always makes it clear, like, if you are complaining about my movies, then you're not the target audience. When you're watching Tyler Perry's movies, he said something about, like, for him, he understands, like, the trauma that African Americans have faced is too deep, you know, and you can't make a serious movie about it because then it will be too serious. But at the same time, you can inform them of the issues that they're facing, make it relatable. I don't know if you've watched the latest movie for with this mom who went to rob a bank. Tyler Perry's
yeah,
latest movie, it's on Netflix.
sure.
And
Yeah,
everyone in the world was like, yo, this was good. But there are some people who are complaining about, like, Tyler Perry's or telling our stories wrong. She make it seem like we are always suffering. But that is what like African Americans in America, many of them are still going through that. And I think when I watch that movie, I laugh, but at the same time, I relate to that person. You
mm-hmm.
know, I can look at it and laugh and still feel that I relate to it as an African living in Germany, or an African even if I was in Uganda, because I'm like, you know what, that could as much, be me. That could be
Yeah,
me. And I have been
yeah,
to America. I have seen, like, so many of these Africans are actually still living like this.
yeah,
Like, it's sad, like they are still facing these issues, and yet sometimes they feel like the standard of the movies should be to, like, their Hollywood movies, like that's how they want their stories to be told. But the thing is, that's not the life that they're living. So I like
mm,
when you say that you can't make a movie about going to the moon. You know,
mm,
like,
mm-hmm.
we are going to the moon because at the end of the day, to not, yes, we want to go to the moon, but that's not what we're going through right now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's like,
Mm-hmm.
we can watch that in Hollywood about an African kid going to the moon, and we'll be like, oh, Africans are also going to the moon. But if I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Ugandan man, I need you to show me what's happening in my culture. How can I
Yeah,
navigate the issues? Actually, my
yeah,
sister, my mom, her whole, like, life is Nigerian movies. She spends the night watching them. Sometimes she repeats the same movie like 5 times. And you said something about how
I
her
like
movies
your
are told.
mom.
Yo, she is like, so sometimes she's watching a movie
Mm-hmm.
and then she gets like halfway. She's like, I've watched this movie before. And I'm like, she gets to the end. So I think that the point in that is that, like you said, our movies are slow. Like,
Yeah,
you can, like, it's, you can even start on part two and still know what happened in part
what
one
happened?
somehow.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So when I'm watching my mom's movie, I'm like, you do know that this person is going to end up with this person. Like, why are you even going through the She's like, no, it's so nice. So when she's telling it to you, then she starts to say, like, for instance, I'll give you a very good example. So I explained to you the story about how I told my mom about, like, how to be a mom, like, in our millennial stage.
mm,
So when I just had a baby, my mom was like, porridge, do this. I'm like, no, I've done my research. I don't need to tie the stomach. I will do exercise. I'll do this. So every day she'll be following me up to find out, is she making enough breast milk? Is the stomach
yeah,
still big? And
yeah,
I kind of, like, stubbornly refuse to do everything that she was telling me it's a must I have to do, because I wanted to show her practically that there is a different way for us to be able to do this. So eventually she'll be like, how are you making breast milk? So she now made it a conversation with everyone. People will be like,
yes,
oh, does she have breast milk? She's like, yes, she has. And she's not drinking porridge. And I'm
yes,
like, please spread the word to
yes,
everyone so that they can
yes.
stop forcing us to grow fat after having babies
Courage.
because
Yes,
because we are
yes.
drinking porridge. She was
Yeah.
so mad. I told her, Mommy, all I need, I'm still hearing my echo. I don't know why. It's just
Oh,
came back.
sorry.
All right. No, so she was so mad at first, but eventually, now I have changed her thinking.
Mm,
And then eventually she was like, Why is your stomach going? You haven't tied anything, you know? And I'm
mm,
like, Mommy, you guys didn't have, YouTube to do all these exercises personalized to you. And
yes.
so when we were together one time, she watched a movie. And in this movie, it was exactly what me and her went through. A Nigerian movie. And she when she was watching it, she said, Oh, I really understand this woman.
Oh.
She said, I connect so much to this woman's mom, because
Yeah.
this is how I came to your house with all my porridge and everything, and you chasing me
Yes.
away with them. So I saw myself in it as well, because when I was watching it, I got to see that the mom was coming from a good place. She
Yes.
was coming to feel like, why are you doing this? I don't know. That's how we do it. Like, why,
Mm,
Nigerians, they wash their babies with like stuff and press the head. And
mm,
eventually
mm.
at the end of the movie, they showed that they came to an understanding that some things are good while other things are not bad. But if it
Yeah.
wasn't for that movie, I don't think my mom and I would have both seen each other's side. I would have just been rebellious, and she would have just said, I'm just a spoiled million kid. So I like
Yeah.
how you say that if you put it in an African setup, because this mom in the movie was coming, saying her child, breastfeed your child. And the woman is like, no, let me pump the milk. And the mom is like,
Yeah.
in our day, you breastfed your child when they needed to drink. You didn't have to pump it. And the
Mm,
daughter was so annoyed that she was telling her what to do, but she wasn't understanding that it's coming from a
yeah.
good place, that the mom is trying
Yes.
to explain to her why something like that was being done. So I love that you said that. And I want you to maybe give, because I know you've gone through all these competitions. You can talk about the one that is happening recently. You can tell me, what kind of feedback do you get from your movies? Like, what do the people who are watching, the viewers, what kind of feedback has um, empowered you, or made you feel like, okay, I am really making a difference? Maybe you can share something about
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um, Thank you for that question. I made a short film in, I think, 2018. It was my directorial debut. It was a film about infertility in marriage, and the topic or the focus was on whose fault is it? And so when I was making this film and writing the script, I remember asking my husband is also a filmmaker. So I remember asking him, after writing the script, I asked him, what do you think about this? What do you think about the script? What do you think about the story? What do you think about our character, the lady, and then, of course, her husband? I remember my husband saying, why is she so angry? Like he didn't understand why she was so angry that her husband was blaming her for infertility, that she went to the lengths she went to as if make him pay for blaming her, yet he was the problem. So my husband said, that's a very small problem. She shouldn't react with such anger. It's not a problem. So when I heard what my husband said, I stepped back and I thought, maybe I'm overthinking this situation. Maybe I need to tone down. Maybe the woman is too angry, you know? Maybe let me listen to what my husband is saying. Being a possible audience member, let me listen to what he's saying. But then something kept bothering me, and I was like, that is a male perspective of being blamed for, being accused for being the infertile one in the relationship. Let me ask women what they think. Oh my goodness, Rusty. It was the women were like, she has not even done anything. If it were me, I would kill
I love that. I love that. Wow.
the women were like, oh my God, I would call a family meeting and burn all of them. Women were so angry because it's such a common occurrence, especially in Africa, that in the world around that when there's infertility in the or childlessness in a relationship, the first person to be blamed is the
The
woman.
woman.
And even
Yes.
when you yeah, even when you say, can we go see a specialist? Like you ask your husband, can we go see a specialist? He doesn't think it's something he has to be bothered with. He thinks it's something that you, as the woman, have to be bothered with.
Yeah.
So when I did Little Black Dress, finally, when I shot the film and then screened it in Nigeria, I took it to Lagos to a festival. And actually, that's where the idea of Binti Film Festival that I'm launching next month started. I went to Nigeria, went to this festival called Afrif, and it was run by a woman, and it was so well like run, very stellar. Everything was really, really well run. And I screened this film. I remember the women in the audience screaming on top of their lungs. You did nothing. You needed to make him
I'm
pay
feeling that. I
even
even have
more.
goosebumps because I can only imagine their reaction. I would be mad as well.
Yes, the women were so mad, were so livid, were upset, and the men in the audience were like, "Are you a feminist? How can you do this with, how can that woman do this to her husband?" And before I could respond, the women in the audience got up and they started screaming. So there was a line drawn between genders. The men were saying it was a bit much
Oh,
how she responded, and the women were saying she did not respond enough. She needed to kill him. I don't know. It was just so much anger, and that's when I realized that we have so many issues that people deal with quietly, especially coming from communities that are conservative, like for us, especially women who can't really speak. You have issues at home, very intimate setting like you and your husband and your children, but you can't speak up because you will shame the family, you will shame the husband, you will shame everyone, the community, the clan. So when you go to a film and you watch and the film is expressing exactly what you're going through, this is what films do. That is the power of films to speak, to give people that don't have the voice to speak, or to give people that don't have the reach to dream that it's possible, or to open people's minds that don't keep quiet about this. Go somewhere, someone could help you. Like you start your podcast, you start your platform and say, as women, come here and listen to these stories. There's someone that has gone through what you're going through, and their experience could help you not start from zero, but start from 45 or 50 and not have to go through the suffering. So
yeah,
for me, Little
very
Black
true.
Dress as a film, I felt was it still has the impact even now that when people watch it, because that problem has not gone away, women are still blamed for
Very
infertility.
true. Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
When you were speaking, I watched this movie on Netflix, and it was also about infertility. And they
Mhm.
changed. They had I like the story they told of one of the couples that were going through this. That the woman had given up, but the man was, the one looking for community. So the doctor who was treating these women started like a community group where they would come and share about their experiences. And so eventually, this guy, because for him, he was really like stressed about the fact that the woman was really putting so much pressure on herself and she had given up. And so he's the one who sought help with the doctor, and he was told to join this group. And he went in as
Mhm.
a man, and the women were so mad because you could tell their anger is towards their husbands, and they couldn't understand how a man has come into this conversation because he is not the one going through it. And
Yeah,
he managed to explain to them while he was also struggling to explain to his wife at home. She was like, "Oh, you're going there and they're feeling sorry for you. Oh, and saying, oh, you're the man who is caring for your wife and all." It's like, but in the end, he managed to show all of them that this issue affects the family. you know.
Yeah.
It affects the
Yeah.
family as a unit. So yes, you
Yeah.
might be the one going through it, but she was like, he told her, do you know how many times I've had to hold my emotions when you had lost another baby? Do you know how it
Mhm.
makes me feel? Because she said when you were pregnant, I was also building, castles in the air. I was
Yeah.
planning for this child, and then the child went. But somehow, when it
Mm.
happens, I'm supposed to suppress my emotions and let you
Mm.
be the one to be angry, like as if me, I wasn't part of the journey.
Yeah.
So that thing made me think so much. Actually, I had what's her name? Denise, she's a founder of Vessel is Me, and I sent it to her and I said, you really need to watch this series because it's really thought provoking. And I love things like you said, like that was very thought provoking. No matter how much people were mad, I'm sure they went home with a different perspective about how they look at the situation that is happening in their communities and in their families. So I love that, and I would really love to watch. I know it's very hard to access Ugandan movies unless you
Yeah.
buy the DVD back home, but I
Yeah.
would definitely really love to. So where can people get the little black dress? Is it in
It,
the studios? I mean, what do they call them? Video library? How can or online? Where can someone access it?
we have it right now on Kiasi, a streaming platform that my husband and I run. So people can access
Oh,
it
okay.
on their Kiasi TV. I can send you the link and you can
Yes,
access
please.
the film there. Yes, you
No
can. And then,
problem.
of
Thank
course,
you so
those
much.
who,
Yes.
you're welcome. Those who will be in Uganda that can attend Binti Film Festival next month, we will be screening the film again at Binti Film Festival, so they can access it there.
Okay, yes. So now you can
Yeah.
tell us about, before you tell us in the end, I would like you to share about the Binti Festival, like like you said, it's something that you got the inspiration from Nigeria. Maybe you share a little bit about it. But I wanted to ask, what are some of the challenges that you've faced in this journey of yours? Like, what are those
Mhm.
challenges that you face as a woman in this field of, I'm certain, I don't know much about film, but I'm almost 100% sure it is male dominated. So I would like to ask, what are some of these challenges that you face as a woman making movies, and how
Mhm.
have you been able to navigate them?
Mhm. Oh, that question is always very. It gets me very introspective. I think a lot about it, and it makes me pause a lot and ask whether there are challenges or maybe I'm in my head like too much. I'm overthinking it, or I have change, or maybe I'm
Challenges are challenges, whether
yes.
you choose them or not.
Yes, and you're very right, Rusty. Film is a male-dominated world, industry, or space because it's a very technical space. It's a very it takes a lot of time to make a film, sometimes years. There's a film my husband and I are trying to make, and we've been trying to make it since 2016, and we still haven't found a way to make it because we're looking for partners to come on board, funding and all that. So, uh, a woman over from 2016 up to now, those are 9 years. Is it 9 years? Yeah, those are 9 years,
Yes.
and a lot is happening in your life. If you have decided to have babies, your mentality has changed. So that's a challenge in itself that you're no longer focused only on that film. Your baby now becomes your primary
Priority. Yeah.
uh, focus. Or maybe you got married and now your husband or your spouse becomes your primary focus. And it's not just because it's what you want only, it's what is expected of you that,
Of
oh,
you.
you're
Yeah.
married. What are you doing here at 3 a.m.
Yes.
in the
Yes.
morning shooting a film? Where is your husband? No one will ask a husband that. No one will ask a man, why are you here shooting a film at 3 a.m.? But there are certain expectations of a woman when life changes or when there are certain adjustments, or even if I am 41 years old, someone could ask if I wasn't married. I don't have a child, I don't have children, but if I wasn't married at this point, they would say things like, that's why you're not married, because you don't have time for social life, You've not considered going out there and like intentionally looking for a spouse. So film is very time consuming, and time is not allowed of women unless it is in a social setting, unless you're giving back in some way in to your social community, not professional.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
when it comes to the dynamics of how film is, as a woman and you want to direct a film, there's a certain way that you are viewed by your male counterparts as not very able to lead a team. There's certain subtle things that you have to deal with that even with a you can I have been in film from 2008. It's almost what? How many years now? 15 years or more. And if I say today that I want to make a film, people will still question me about my experience. Are you sure you can make a film? But if a young man, a 25-year-old man came right now with zero experience in filmmaking,
Go, you can do this.
that one is just like that is the guy. So there's still the need as a woman to prove yourself as capable to do something, to prove yourself as capable to run a team, to lead a team, to run a set, and capable of telling stories that are interesting. We are considered not funny. People think women are not funny. I think women are some of the funniest people in the world.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we're just funny in a different way. But I think women are very funny. I think women have very interesting stories. I think our lives are built around stories. I will call a friend and say, "Oh my God, guess what happened? What?" And then we're listening. "Oh my God, that." Then she adds, "Oh, let me tell you, da da da." You know, we're always telling stories. Men are like, "Yo, let's go for a beer."
I
Uh,
direct.
yeah, how is the wife? The wife is fine. How is the family? They're fine. And then they're watching soccer. That's their evening. For us, it's how is the baby? How is your mom? Oh my God, what was she doing? Like you've been telling me all the stories about your mom. She watches the Nigerian movies and then she comes to your house, brings you all the
Yes.
things. So I'm very interested in that. I'm like, oh my God, the next time I see you on Instagram, I'll be like, how is your mom? What does she think about your YouTube? So we are
Yes.
very great at storytelling. We're very great at expanding stories, at listening, at being interested and invested in people's lives and their stories. But I feel like the world doesn't appreciate that well. So my challenges are just that we should be allowed to give more to professional worlds than we give to our social worlds. We should be allowed to we should like people should see that we have a lot of value that we add to the professional world. But also as women, we should not wait for to be given permission. Like don't wait for someone to come and tell you it's possible you can do this. If I've been in film for 15 years, why should I wait for someone to say, yes, Esteri, make that film? Why is the 25-year-old young man just confident? Or off the bat, he just knows that he can make the film. We should stop waiting to be validated as women. I think that's the best way I have found to navigate that problem of fearing to step into this industry and being bold to make decisions and to say, I have come to make my film and I will make it. Stop waiting to be validated. Stop asking 17 people before you make a choice. Believe and trust that
True.
whatever is in you, that is invested in you, that God has put in you, is possible without people validating you.
I felt like you were speaking right at me. I love that. To be honest, I think this crosses out, and I've listened to different people. I've had different people on the podcast, business people, young people, and all of them are sharing the same thing. And this is the imposter syndrome that has been placed on us. You know that feeling like, oh, am I good enough? Am I this? And I think that's why in many cases, then it always remains male dominated.
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, like you say, like I'd never even actually seen it in that way, but women are the best storytellers there is. Like when a woman sits you down, tell you a story, you're going to hear a whole movie, because they'll even give you the afterthought, like first pause now, remember that person I told you, pause there, now let me bring another character into the story. That's
That
how we
is
tell our
very
stories.
true.
Yes. Yes. Like someone
Yeah.
tells you, remember that guy, now fast pause there. Then during the question, like people and the expression and the people who are consuming, like women are like, mm-hmm, and you, like the tone you start to say, like how he said he came, you know?
Uh, and then she's responding, sure, how could he do
Yes,
that? Pichi,
exactly.
oh my God, that guy. But when you're telling a guy the same story, like so many times I'm telling my husband a
Mm-hmm.
story, and I'm like, you know what? Let me call my friend. You are just not the right audience for me.
Exactly. Like my, yo, sometimes I'm telling my husband, I'm like, you're no, you're boring me, and I need to call someone who is going to like give me the reaction that I need. I was like, oh, okay, very good. I'm like, that's it, that's it. Like I just gave you the juiciest juice. And you're not saying that.
And you're not
It's
responding.
so
So,
funny. I
yeah,
know. So I love
women,
that, and I love the fact that you said it in that way, because if you're a person out there who is listening and you're a woman and you just have this idea of creating stories and making stories, I think it's important to you to know that God put that natural ability in you to tell a story from when you were born. You just have it,
yes,
you just don't believe it. Just listen to
yes,
how you lugambolize
yes,
about your
yes,
friends, about everyone. It will be enough to show you that you actually have the natural gift to
yeah,
tell stories. It's
yeah,
just the fear of the fact that there's not that many women. And I think it takes someone
yeah,
like Esteri to be able to break that ceiling for other
yeah,
people to be like, okay, you mean I can do that? Because in many cases, we just need someone to be the first one there to show us that, first of all,
yeah,
you in this era, you don't need to have like all the technical stuff behind. Like you don't need to have all that stuff. You just need the, go forward, do it. The
yeah,
mentality
yeah,
to just do it. Yeah. I love that.
yeah.
So you can tell us about I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to share. Please tell us about the festival and anything about it
Yeah.
that you might want us to know.
Oh yeah, like I said, some people have asked me where this idea came from, why Binti Film Festival. First of all, Binti means young woman in Swahili, and the festival is focused on women and our stories. So it's a festival about women, for women, by women. So it could also be stories that men have told, but the focus, the leads in the film are women. So they're following a woman and her story. And that's what Binti is about. And Binti is a Swahili word that is young woman. It means young woman. So when I went to Lagos, Nigeria in 2019, I attended the Afri festival that was where my short film, The Little Black Dress, was being showcased. I remember being blown away that the festival was run by a woman and how big it was, how stellar it was, how organized it was. I could not believe my eyes. I was like, what? This is run by a woman? Is it possible? Like, it was so wow, I don't know. I just remember being so transported into the possibility that I could do this back home. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back home and I am going to start a festival and I am going to do it. I don't care how or who helps me, who comes on board. If this lady is able to do it, I am going to do it. So, also the fact that the festival was attended by people who are not filmmakers, they're just people who love films. I was thinking this is the kind of festival I need back home where we are not making films and screening them to fellow filmmakers, but people who don't make films, who want to consume the product of stories and films. So I came back home 2019, and that was towards the end of 2019, and we all know what happened in 2020. Boom, everything just,
Yeah.
the world shut down. Everyone went to sleep. Everyone went to their house and started
We are just
baking.
waking up.
and started
We
baking.
baked wabula. We baked. Me, I was almost. I was sure I was going to be a chef after the pandemic. I cooked.
That's very interesting. Yeah, so we baked cakes, we did DIY projects. Oh my God. A lot of podcasts were also born out of the pandemic, which have still grown from there. But people just became more aware of what have we been missing out on, you know. So, of course, I could not do a festival. And then 2021, still, there was a lot of lockdowns here and there. There were no gatherings outside, so I couldn't do the festival. And then for me, my life towards the end of 2021, I got kidney failure. Um, I was already had been diagnosed in 2015. I don't know if I'd mentioned that I was in the movie Queen of Katwe that was shot here in Uganda. So around the time we were auditioning and being cast for Queen of Katwe, I got diagnosed with kidney disease, but it was still, I think, stage 3 or stage 4. So I could live my life, manage it somehow, but you know. So now, fast forward to 2021, my kidneys crash and I get kidney failure. And so the whole of 2022 was fundraising to go to India to get my kidney, get a kidney transplant. Went through family to get who is a match. All my siblings were not matches. And then for me, the miracle was that my husband was the miracle match and he donated his kidney. And so he was so gracious to keep me here today, that I am alive today because my husband was gracious enough to donate one of his kidneys. So I feel like I'm lucky to do Binti, to tell stories about women because a man was kind enough to say, I will give my life for yours, and I'm so grateful for that. So once we did the surgery in 2022 in India in November, I came back home. I've been recuperating, and I just felt like this dream was not leaving me. Like I could not. That's I think part of the purpose you were talking about earlier. Like I just felt like I have a purpose, and um, if it was COVID that opened people's eyes to what their purpose is, for me, it was almost dying and given a second chance that now I am back here 3 years after my surgery and I'm trying to make this festival happen because I know that women are the best storytellers and their stories move the world. So that's where Binti is born from.
Yeah.
And it's happening next month, 15th to 17th of August. It's going to be here in Kampala. We are trying to find a venue and lock down a venue for the opening night, but we have a venue for the two Saturday and Sunday, which are going to be at Central Park in Bokoto, 5 p.m. That's 16th and 17th of August. So we are happy about those two dates that are sorted, but we're still trying to lock down the opening night because of, when you're planning and logistics here and there, venues are changing and, So I found out just this morning that we couldn't have our venue that we had already locked down. So we have
Oh.
to be adjusting here and there. So that's what Binti is about, and we're super excited about it. It's free entry. It's just like let's all just come out and just watch films and have a nice time enjoying films from women of African descent. So the films are from Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Cape Verde. We have films from Libya. It's going to be a really, really exciting lineup for Binti Film
Wow.
Festival. Yeah.
Wow, what a journey. What a journey. And we thank God for giving you another life. Thank God for your husband. It's interesting, right? How you
Yeah.
marry someone without knowing their purpose in your life.
Yeah.
You could have chosen
Yeah.
someone else and you end up with the one who actually saved your life. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow,
Yeah.
we thank God for that. So
Amen.
wow, that's really good. And also, I recently lost my stepdad to kidney failure and cancer,
Mm,
and he found out in 2022. Actually, he just passed on a few months ago in March, and
I'm
I
so
do
sorry.
know, I completely understand the toil it has on a human being to know that your body, like, I started and said, we have these things in our body, and when someone is telling you don't smoke, don't drink, you're like, ugh, until they tell you your kidney is
Yeah.
failing. That's when you start to realize this kidney is connected to the heart. How? Like, how are all, why is my skin, like, why do I need to go and get dialysis? Like, all these
Yes.
things, it made me realize how we take for granted the things that we have in our body, because I saw him
Exactly.
passing on. I even put out an episode when I was sharing about this on the podcast. Somebody has come. She came running. I put I I put out an episode where I was sharing how this experience shaped my thinking to be grateful to life, to understand, because he was in his 70s. But I was like, I wish I could take this pain away, and the doctor was like, there's nothing you can do, like, not even, like, nothing, like, nothing you can do to help this person. So I understand, for you to get to that point where you're seeing, I'm this might be it for me, because there are so many people who tried fundraise and they never even, like, they might get the money, and like this recently, I don't know which guy who died, who they were trying to raise the money for his heart, I think, or something like that,
Cedric.
and he passed on.
Cedric.
Yes,
Mm.
he passed on when they were still looking for the money, no matter how well off he was. So I
Yeah.
understand that's not something to take for granted. It's not something to
Exactly.
take for granted, because not every person makes it, and not everyone gets a donor. Like, literally, there are people, their husband tells you, sorry, I love you, but I'm, I'm
Yeah.
not giving you my kidney. I need it
Yeah.
somehow, even if the doctor
Yeah.
says I don't need both of them. So we thank God for your life. And I think, as you say, that really changes your view of the world, for you to realize, you know what, God, this kind of thing I've been taking for granted, it's time for it to actually come out. And I
Yeah.
am loving the fact that you say that your festival is focusing on women's stories, because I do understand that, yes, the stories have been told, but man, the problems we're going through right now are completely different from the parents that,
Yeah.
like, the problems our parents went through, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, on this podcast I have interviewed people where I reach out to you, and I'm seeing you on the social media, like, so many people, I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, would you please like to be on the podcast? The person's like, man, I'm going through a depression. And you're like,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
social media post has nothing to do with, like,
Yeah.
how are you
Yeah.
going through this when you're posting, living the life every day, and the person is
Yeah.
telling you, my life is a mess right now. So I really, really hope that, as you said, the movies that people are making right now, I hope they really tell our stories, because many people are really going through a lot. I think the podcast, the YouTube channels really help, because these days people, it's no you don't need to watch WBS on NTV to be able to listen to, Gatali Konf, whatever it is, like, to listen
Yeah.
to a story, life stories, used to be life stories.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what was the show called. Like, it would come on once in a while, and you had to apply to be cast on the show. These days,
Mm.
people are telling stories from their homes. Like, anyone can pick up their phone and
Yeah.
just take us on the journey of what it is that they're going through, because they own a camera. They don't
Yeah.
have to be having all this equipment, and they do that. And I feel like this festival is something that I think people really need, because we need more storytellers, as you said. Women really, like,
Mm.
women's stories really need to be told, man. We are
Mm.
suffering. We are really
Mm.
suffering in Uganda. We are
Yeah.
suffering. The government needs to help us.
Yeah. Yeah. Government
And
yet
yet
we
we are
are
the
there.
majority. We are the
Yeah.
majority, and we are
Yeah.
suffering. It is something,
We
and
are.
it's so heartbreaking to understand what women are going through. And
Yeah.
for me, like, it breaks my heart to know that. But I guess, like you said, if someone coming and watching this, watching the different movies, as provocative as they might be, it might seem annoying to you, but there's something that you learn. Like, the men who watched your short movie, your movie, and were provoked, I'm sure it left an impact on them, because they learned something that day. Hopefully, some of them were husband and wife.
Yeah.
Because you go home real knowing how your partner
Yeah.
thinks
How your
about your
wife?
situation. You're
Yes.
like, this whole time, you mean this whole time, this
Yes.
is what you've been harboring? You're like, yes, you've been
Exactly.
torturing me. So I
Yeah.
love, I love that, I love that that's what it's centered about. And I really hope that you can have many more of these and hopefully spread them out to the world, because I know I've seen a lot of film festivals in Germany and different places, and I'm sure, I don't know, have you like done any abroad apart from the one in Nigeria?
Any festivals abroad? Yeah, I did one. I did a festival, not for that film, but I did a festival in London called Rain Dance. I was still premiering a film that I was a part of. I was the lead in a film called Imperial Blue. You can find it on Amazon. Imperial Blue was still about a young woman that was fighting the church that was trying to take her father's land. So it is still again about the predicaments or the issues that women are dealing with. So the church was saying she's a young woman, her father was a witch doctor, and they're trying to cleanse the land, so she has no right over that land. And so she was just trying to do everything in her power to take that land back. So we premiered that film in London to a very, 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 very excited audience, Ugandans and also the British and so many other people. So it was very interesting to see how people respond to
I love
it
that.
outside of Africa. Yeah.
Yes, you keep mentioning these movies, and I'm like, so you're also an actress. And
Yeah,
you did
I'm
not start
actually,
off by that telling us, like, why are you hiding your talents from us? You just start out, I am a filmmaker, and then you keep dropping bombs as like Queen of Katwe. We watched this thing on Disney. Why are you not telling us that you are a celebrity in the midst? So are you also an actress? This is so amazing. I like when
actually,
you're sharing, I'm like, huh.
mm, I started off as an actress. Actually, I became an accidental actress when I was at the National Theatre. I was first a dancer. I was doing all the ballroom dances. I was doing salsa, rumba, merengue, cha-cha, whatever, bachata. That's what I was doing at the National Theatre. Then I was also doing African contemporary dance fully at the National Theatre. And then one time we find out that there's an audition for a film. And I just went and auditioned for the film, and I got cast to play the lead in that film. And that's how I get into acting. And this was in a program that was run by Mira Naya, who is now the director of Queen of Katwe. That was like in 2008. And so she casts me later in 2015 to play what's the name? Katende, Sarah Katende in Queen of Katwe. Sarah Katende was the wife of the coach that was coaching the children. So if you
Now I'm
watch the
starting
film,
to I'm starting to remember. I did watch the movie, but until someone, it's so interesting that you can be talking to someone until they
yeah,
tell you that you're like, I watched that movie. Like, are you?
yeah, yes,
It's that
yeah.
interesting that people actually, like, it takes a while for someone. Now that you're saying, I'm like, I watched that movie. Why don't I know that I saw you?
Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm
Yeah.
in the movie. It was a very interesting and very, 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 very great time in my life to be cast in that film. So I'm an actor first before I'm a writer, director, producer, and a filmmaker in general. So yes, a lot of
Yeah.
people know me as an actor first, then the other things follow. But most of
So you
us
did
start off
really cover up
acting.
the whole arts industry, dance,
Yes,
music. Do you
yes.
also sing?
I sing just enough for stage, but I don't think I can record it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
nice.
enough
I
for
love that.
stage.
You're
Thank you.
multi-talented, and I think through your talents, there's a lot more. We now know why God kept you alive. Like, there's still more you have to
Thank
do for this
you.
world, and we thank God for your life. I'm really, really grateful that you've shared that story. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think it adds a touch to your journey. It
Mm,
shows the purpose. Like, every time I think I'll be listening to any movies, I'm like, this is why she stayed alive. This is the reason why she is here. So we thank God
yeah.
for that. Is there any? Oh, wait, I have one last question I like to ask every guest.
Mhm.
Okay, so how do you see your
Yes,
purpose and
yeah.
contributions growing beyond the film festival and just the movies, right? Like what you're doing right now, and what role
Mhm.
do you think a platform like She Center can play in supporting women through this process of discovering and evolving their purpose?
Okay. Whew. What a heavy and pregnant question.
Yeah.
Um, may I start off with how She Center can support
Yes, please.
what Binti is doing? Um,
Mm,
you're already a platform that allows for storytelling, and that's what we
mm,
hope Binti can be in
mm,
the future. I feel that the festival itself is one of the platforms that will empower women. I don't like using the word empower just loosely. I want to
mm,
say if it's for a woman going to make a film, I want her to be sure that she has where to show her film, that she has an audience that she
mm,
can show her film to. So,
mm,
Binti Film Festival is like a physical distribution point for people to watch female filmmakers' works and their films. So with the She
mm,
Center, um, when even just as we were speaking the whole afternoon, this whole afternoon, I've been thinking to myself, how do we merge these stories so that women that are going through the Binti Foundation, that are experiencing how they can put their lives out there and their stories out there, how can we have the She Center be the plug that amplifies these stories? That for me, I'm just
mm.
thinking, how can we marry these two?
I have ideas. I have ideas.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. So when you ask that question, I'm like, it's because it's in my mind and I am thinking. I don't think it's
Mm,
formed yet fully what I think it could be, but I
yeah.
see why I ended up here today talking to you
True.
because I
True.
think already you have mileage with telling women's stories. And I'm
Mm,
just walking into this
yeah.
space of telling women's stories. So how can I
Mm,
then jump on board what you already have and see how
mm,
Binti, that will have so many women on board, can then feed into She Center
yes.
and how we can
Mm,
tell stories from women of all walks of life, from ages, different
mm.
ages. Because I don't even know what if you have an age limit for women that can be
No. I've
that can tell
interviewed
this.
my mom and her big sister, so
Oh my
even as
God.
my grandma just has failed to go into the phone and record. She was like, I need your story here. She's
I want to
85
watch and
years.
listen. Oh my goodness. I
So
want to
you
know
need
the
to
story.
listen to the episode of my mom. She is the funniest. Like I had to even censor her. I was like, "Mommy, this story is not going to the internet. The police will come for you."
That's so hilarious.
At some point, I was like, if immigration, my mom, I interviewed her sister and her friend, and her friend is telling her how she came to Germany and how, man, you know how we came. And I'm like, hey, immigration.
Oh my, your mom is in
We
Germany,
cracked
right?
it. Yeah, my mom came here, so I
Oh
came out
my
to study.
God.
So it's amazing. I love how you said that, and definitely I want to say this online because I want like people who are listening, probably people from your audience or people who have not like. I do believe that whatever it is, as a woman, like any woman who is in East Africa, because this platform I'm building right now, it's first going to focus on East Africa, and I want it to spread out later. I don't want to dream so small because it can be an international platform, and it will be, because what we are talking about right now can impact someone in America, but
Yeah.
just that some of the specific services will be in Uganda. But
Mm.
when I had this vision, I'm sure you have experienced something like this. Like you have this vision and you're like, no, I don't have this experience. Like I can't do this, And it's something told me, like for me, mine is mostly like from a spiritual kind of like place. Like it started from feeling like God is telling me I need to start this. And
Uh-huh.
I did not at any point think, like when I started the podcast, like, okay, mommy, you're coming first. I was just going as I went. I was like, I want to tell women stories. How am I going to reach out to them? I don't know. And then
mm,
I started out reaching out to my friends. Some of them were like, no, up to now, they're like, man, I can't come on there and talk because I'm scared or I don't feel like my story matters. And to
yeah,
me, when I'm talking to this person, I reach out to them because I feel like they have an amazing story because I know them. But they are
yes,
telling me they have no story to tell because they have listened to someone talk about how they came from poverty to riches. And I'm like, so your
mm,
story becomes useless because you don't have a coming to this and this. Like, there's so much more in you. And when you say
mm,
that, like it being that, I feel like storytellers need inspiration, number one,
mm, mm,
because you might be limited. You might be limited by
mm,
where you are. I'm sure you've listened to some stories or something, and you find this person has like a tendency of just showing the life of people, and they are so detached from another
mm,
part of lives that people are living. Now, for
mm,
me, I come from growing up as you all over the place. There's no way I
mhm,
did not leave the village. When I got to the
mm,
village, you cannot think I came from Kampala because I will
mm,
completely switch off my Kampala side. When I'm in
yeah,
Kampala, I am Amuna Kampala. I grew up in Kampala streets. When I speak to Waganda, they are like, are you sure you're Mutoro? No, I'm not.
mm,
When I'm in
yeah,
Kampala, I'm a Muganda. When I come here to Germany, I also like I'm a person who, because I also grew up living. My mom came here when I was really young. I grew up living with different people, so I kind
yeah,
of developed these multiple personalities that
yeah,
allow me to connect with people, and also to
mm,
not just connect but to put myself, like when I am telling you a story of a village person, I need you to understand that this is what this person is going through. You get, like,
yeah,
this is what they're going through. Don't just look at it from your Western perspective. Don't look at
yeah,
it from your Kampala perspective. So for me, what I saw was collaboration. That's it. I was
yeah,
like, if I want to help a woman who is in the movie industry and I just
mhm,
don't know how, number one, what are
mm,
you thinking about? Do they have a community?
mm,
Because that's the one important thing I have noticed: community, collective action. I am a political science student, so sometimes I bring
mm,
in my theories. Uh, Collective action is something that really moves us really forward. I
yeah,
don't know if this is something that you have in your bench. Like, do you have these women together? Do they have a space where they come together and share their experiences and their problems and whatever they are going through? Now, She Center is going to have a platform for them, because on She Center platform we are going to have a section for community pages, where
yeah,
communities. So this means that someone from Uganda or East Africa, whatever it is that you're coming from, you're looking for a community where you can belong.
yeah,
You come and you find it. Are you a new mom? Are you a movie director? Are you this, like, because I feel like, I'm sure if you sit down and realize there are some problems you can't share with your friends who are not in the space that you're in. So that's
yeah,
something that for me I see, and also for them to know that they can tell their stories also on She Center, because I'm
yeah,
always looking forward for people like that to come on here and inspire other people. Like, your perspective of movies could be different from a person who is not coming from a space where they have had the opportunities that you have, but they also do want to be storytellers. So
exactly.
I'm glad that we have been acquainted, and I'm very sure that we will possibly have future collaborations, and I'm looking forward to that, because
I
I
love
know
it.
that where women working together, I think is very powerful, because my weakness is your strength could be my weakness, and I'm very happy
Mm,
that you mentioned that, and I'll definitely reach out as soon as the platform is off like the website. I need to stop saying platform because this is also a platform. As soon as
yeah,
the website is off the ground, I
yeah,
think even before, like, this is something that would be interesting for you to come on board and be
yes,
able to see what about the website can how can I benefit, or how can I contribute to the empowerment
yes.
of women. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So just to,
Yes.
just to add to that, we felt like with Binti Film Festival, it is just one arm of what we dream of doing. And like you said, community is really like a currency right now. If you're able to rally people together, you have a currency that you can deal to anyone that wants to tap into these communities. So we want to have a space, like you said, of women who want to make films, but within those women are different complexities. Like I'm a filmmaker who is a new mom. I'm a filmmaker who is divorced. I am a filmmaker
Yes.
who is a widow. I am a filmmaker who is just starting a business. So we want to encourage women to tell their stories of what they're going through, but also to have a space where they're allowed to speak freely, or they're allowed to feel like this is home. And so there's going to be a lot of mentorship of learning skills that they can do outside, like behind the camera, like editing, cinematography, sound, lighting, costume, and things like that. And then we can also encourage them like to take on long-term courses and stuff like that. And then we hope to get funds to support their films so they can tell films that truly, truly, truly stories that affect them as women. So if this community is built around Binti and the idea of women and their stories, imagine how many women you will have to tap into that can come and just
Yes, yes.
feed into
Together
the
you
web.
can do more than what the other people are saying you can do.
Yes, yes.
I
So
love that.
I love this a lot. When Maritza told me about you, I was like, I think this is amazing that Rusty is doing this, and to talk to her would really just like open my mind to what she's doing, and maybe see how we can merge and see how we can just
Yes,
link
yes,
and see how this can happen. I think
yes,
this has
definitely.
birthed something. This conversation has birthed
It was divine. It
potential.
was, yeah, yeah. See, I told you, I love it when I talk to people who I have no clue like what they're doing, because then it taps into because Maritza, I already told Maritza, I'm working on this thing. I haven't yet said it out loud. Maybe it will be out by soon. I'm working on workbooks and freebies for people like to be able to, because I felt like I don't have to wait for my website to be up, because I have a section for resources on the website. And I need
Yeah,
people. I'm seeing a lot of people, not that there's anything wrong, but there are so many people like they can't even afford a book. You know, they want to make the change, but they don't know how, or they're like, I can't relate to that person. So I reached
yeah.
out to people like Maritza, different people. I'm like, you know what? I talked to you. You're really good at this specific topic. Can you give me like, can you just put it in writing? What are some of the tips that can help this
Mm,
person in this particular way, or how can we put just this into a few pages for this person to read about and show them that it's something. So that's what I've been working on. I haven't yet shared this. This is the first time I'm sharing this.
okay.
So that's something that I felt is necessary for
Mm,
many people. I like how you said, because for me, when I was starting out this journey of podcasting, I honestly talk to people back home and they're telling me, oh, like us here, actually, Maritza is the one who told me, like, for someone to make just one episode, they would charge them like 300,000, like the
yeah,
recording, the editing, and everything. And I'm like, that 300,000 can buy you a microphone and you have a
yep.
phone at home. You
Mm,
have a phone at home, but people don't know this. Every time I'm talking to people, and I'm like, most people who I have been talking to who are doing something and they're doing like doing YouTube and stuff, and I'm like, why don't you turn this also into audio and just put your story to the whole world to listen to, because you're
mm,
looking for funding, and the people who have the money or who will give you the money are actually outside Uganda in many cases, because they might believe in you more than the people that you're around. But
yeah,
I find that many people, we have reasons not to chase our dreams. So it
yeah,
needs someone to tell us, you actually don't need all that stuff. Like, you don't
yeah,
need all these big different things. Just start where you are and then build onto that. So it's
yeah,
something that I'm working on right now, and I'm hoping to launch it probably beginning of August. I'm not quite sure. It's
yeah,
called the She Journey Shelf. So it's
yeah.
practically a shelf where you come and pick the resources that you need. And the She, by the
Mm.
way, for She Center, the She stands for Support, Heal, and Empower.
Oh,
So
wow.
yes, yes.
I love
So
it. I love it.
I'm very excited for it. I'm even happy to share it out loud for the first time onto the podcast. And
Yeah,
I can't wait to see the impact that it will make, because I do know that I have a lot of resources from
yeah,
people who are experts in their fields that
yeah,
a normal person would not have access to. you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
an everyday person doesn't have access to you, but because I've talked to you, I can analyze and read through whatever it is that you've told me, do the research, and make that into a small summary to say, you know what, here's how you need to
Mm.
do this and this. You don't have
Yeah.
to even
Yeah.
like follow the person or like talk to them personally. So it's like a mentorship from a distance.
Yes, I love that a lot. I think I'll be one of the
Yes.
people that will tap into that. That's really amazing what you're doing.
Yes,
I
yes,
love it.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. We
You're
could go
welcome.
on and on. Thank you so much, Esteri.
Thank
It was
you. That's
amazing,
you.
amazing having this conversation with you. I've had such a lovely time. I cannot wait. This
Mhm.
episode is coming out Monday. So
Okay,
I can't
great.
wait for it to come out. I can't wait for people to hear your story and your journey. And I cannot
Mhm.
wait, particularly to see where Binti's festival is going to go, because I do believe that this is the future. Like it's going exactly where we need to go. We really need to tell our stories. Any last words you have out there for any woman who is listening?
Um, Again, I'll just repeat. Stop waiting for permission. Just do. Just get up and do what is that dream that is in your heart. You know, dreams take up space for a short time, and if you don't do anything about it, they'll find another person that can make them happen. So if a dream visits you, or if an idea visits you, try and make it happen and stop looking for permission and validation from the whole world, from your uncle, your father, your mother, your auntie, the guy on the street, your border guy. Just trust your instinct. And as a woman, you have incredible instinct that God has put in you, that what you believe and trust is possible. So stop waiting for permission.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Yes.
Esteri, and I cannot
Thank
wait
you.
to see, to hear. Hopefully, we can be able to follow up with the content, with everything that's going
Yeah.
to be happening on the festival. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Please help me spread the word by sharing our episodes with your friends, family, and followers. Let's amplify the voices of women, break barriers, challenge stereotypes, and create a network of support and empowerment. Together, we can bring about positive change and make this world a better place for all. This is She Center, the female podcast, where women's stories matter. I love you all. God bless.